As you can see behind me, we've made a lot of progress. Let's see what's happening at the Ray house. Let's talk about these concrete piers. Since our last episode, Trotter General Contracting has poured over 7 yards of concrete for 8 new porch piers that they had framed in late April. These are replacing the original brick piers that had deteriorated since the porch's original construction, sometime around the year 1900. So Brian and his crew have told me that there are about, almost to be exact, 1.23 yards of concrete in each of these 2 piers that flank the front door, and they will each hold 2 columns each to support this beautiful wraparound porch. So fun fact, a yard of concrete's about 4,000 pounds, so there's about 5,000 pounds of concrete in here. The wonderful thing about that is we know that this is going to be substantial enough to hold up over time and to really meet our goal of keeping the Ray house solid and substantial and telling its story for the next 200 years. We know that the Ray house has changed through the years, from our earliest illustration of the home as a story and a half, then pictured here with the full second story in 1895, then here in 1899 with the wraparound porch, and then here in the early 1930s and as the Voorhees Hersey Memorial Home in 1960. One of our favorite finds that has just been discovered recently, when they took off some of the sheeting and siding, we discovered that under the siding there was actually some framing that illustrates the very first home that was here. We have it pictured in 1872. And so this would have been the same peak that was present at that time. And then that full second story was added later. Here's a similar example. When we removed the porch flooring, we found the brick framing for the basement windows, shown in the 1872 illustration. Here's another look at that plaque that saved this house, that really is the reason that this house is still standing. And it's affixed to this wall that actually goes around the whole perimeter of the entire house. Everyone asks us if we're going to keep the wall or if we're going to replace it with something like brick. It's really cost prohibitive for us at this time to do anything other than just keep this wall as it is. And I've had a lot of questions about it. Many people recognize that it's not original to the home, but I think there are some misconceptions about what the age might be, and we're not even sure. But I'll tell you what we know. This is the product on the Ray house is likely Permastone. It was first registered as a trademark in 1929 in Columbus, Ohio. It's a simulated stone that was created on the job site and was somewhat similar to the process of applying like a stucco. A wire mesh, well in our case chicken wire, was attached to the existing foundation. Then a scratch coat and a brown coat were applied, and then a third coat, and that was molded when it was still wet. Craftsmen would press that wet surface with molds or use an aluminum roller to shape the surface to create the look of stones with faux mortar lines. And since the process was trademarked in 1929, it isn't out of the question that the Permastone wall was constructed prior to 1936, when the Lincoln plaque was placed at the site by the Illinois State Historical Society. This is really monumental for us. We're actually fixing the roof. I wish you could all be here in person to just take in the vibe of all of this wonderfulness that's going on. And so today, the really big task has been to remove all of the shake shingles from the cabin area and to replace them with sheeting. So we really wanted to be able to save all of the shake shingles and all of the wood but it's cost prohibitive for us. The shakes were all melted into all the asphalt and tar paper that had been accumulated over the years. So it was really necessary for Brian Thomas and his crew from Trotter General Contracting to remove all of that old material. And what you can see behind me are the live edge purlins that were used in that as an original construction method back in the 1830s. It's also really just a tremendous honor to see those live edge purlins that are there and to really just take time and soak in what the construction methods were like in the 1830s and what this particular structure meant for Abraham Tolles and his family when they settled here. This was their home. These were the very modest dwelling that they established here so that they could make a life in Schuyler County and in Rushville. So it's an honor to see that and to think about the hands that actually put this roof together. I think this side is going to be an even bigger transformation. This is the west side of the cabin. This is one of the areas where we have the most water damage inside. And on this west side, there was a pretty significant hole right here in the center. And so it's been patched over a couple of times. When they actually take off all of this roof material, we'll know a lot more about what's going on under there.